Hi guys, welcome back. I hope you're all doing great. In today's video, we're going to talk about some recent acquisitions, some fragrances that I've recently added to my collection. I thought it would be fun to just sort of off the cuff go through a few fragrances that I've recently purchased. I'm really enjoying some of these. Some of these I haven't really delved into and gotten a chance to wear yet, but I think I'm really going to enjoy them. Some of them have been on my wish list. Some of them were blind buys, and I would say successful blind buys. So I have a lineup of 8 here, and let's get started. So we'll start with the first one by the house of Puredistance. This one is Puredistance number 12. I've had this on my wish list for a pretty long time. I think I talked about this in my New Year's video when I shared my wish list at the end of the video. This is a really well done floral fragrance. One of the creamiest floral fragrances that I've gotten my nose on. It's sort of a little bit throwback to floral fragrances, feminine floral fragrances of the 90s, but I would say a more sort of modern take, a modern wearable version. So it's a melange of flowers. There are a ton of florals in here, and they all sort of meld together, and they're really creamy. There's ylang ylang at the top in this fragrance, and it's a little bit musky. There's ambrette in here as well, and there's a prominent cardamom note that sort of peeks through, and it makes it really interesting. But what I like the most is these creamy florals with this muskiness. I love how this wears on my skin. I went through a full decant of this. I had full wears. It's on my skin for the entirety of the day without being loud and obnoxious. It's a fragrance that I was smelling on myself the entire day. I was getting wafts of it, and it's really pretty, really, really pretty. It's a little bit on the feminine side, I would say. And Puredistance fragrances are not cheap. This one I did find at a discounter, I think in the neighborhood of $220, and this one is an X-ray in concentration, and it's a 60 ml bottle. There's a larger bottle as well, and a smaller one. This is the middle size. So this is Puredistance number 12, and I finally got this after being on my wish list. Okay, so the next one I'm loving as well. This is from the house of Eldo, Jasmine Cigarette. So as the name implies, it's jasmines and cigarettes, and that's exactly what you get. It opens with a really nice, pretty jasmine. It's really pretty, and it's contrasted with the aroma of cigarettes. So it's not necessarily smoke, but it's more of a cigarette, a little bit ashy. And I noticed that as it dries down, the jasmine becomes a little bit less prominent, and you're left with almost like an ashtray of ashes and smoked used cigarette butts, and there are jasmine petals crushed all over this ashtray. That's what it smells like, and it's really well done. I really like this, and I should have gotten the bigger bottle. I purchased the smaller one since it was a blind buy and I wasn't sure. I should have gotten the bigger one. I really like this one. It's really interesting. So that's Jasmine Cigarette. So also from the house of Eldo is Rienne. I did test this one before I purchased the full bottle, and I did go for the small one because I'm not sure how I feel about this one. Very interesting fragrance, addictive. I'm not sure how I feel, but yet there was something that kept me going back to the little sample decant that I had. So it's an incensey, leathery fragrance that has aldehydes as well. So it's aldehydic, and it's leathery, and it's incensey, and it almost seems a little bit medicinal, and it comes off like really cold. So if it had a personality, I would say that it's really not warm and cuddly. It's really cold and standoffish. There's nothing cuddly about the fragrance, but yet there's something that keeps me going back to it. It's just such an interesting combination of this incense with this leatheriness. It's not like any other leather that I've ever gotten my nose on or that I own in my collection. So I decided to get the small bottle and see how I get on with this, what I think after full wears of this fragrance. Even though I did go through the full decant, I was a little bit on the fence when I purchased this, but I do think it's interesting enough that I'm going to enjoy this. So we'll see. So that's Rienne by Eldo. So the next one is an absolute beauty, a discontinued fragrance, unfortunately, from the house of Guerlain. This is Tonka Imperial. Tonka Imperial is absolutely stunning. It is a stunning take on Tonka. It's powdery, it's soft, it's delicate, really classy. It has that almondy sweetness. It's a little floral. It's, in my opinion, a very delicate, powdery take on Tonka. I'm comparing it to fragrances like Fève Délicieuse from Dior's Privé line, and also Fève Gourmand by the House of Guerlain, which I have samples of both of those. I actually have a decant of Fève Délicieuse. I had a bottle and I decluttered it when I found this. So I haven't put the sprayer in yet. This is still the screw cap, and I have to add the sprayer to the bottle. It's a stunning fragrance, stunning, stunning. I really love it. It's warm, it's sweet, but the sweetness from that almondy Tonka has these beautiful powdery facets, and there's something a little floral as well. Like I said, I think it's a better take, or at least it's a take on Tonka that I personally like better than Fève Délicieuse and Fève Gourmand, which I find, I have a decant of Fève Gourmand, and I find it so thick and sweet, and it's really yummy, but it's almost to the point where it's boozy and chocolatey. Maybe there is a chocolate note in there, I'm not sure. I should revisit that decant. It is yummy, but this is a whole different level in my opinion. Too bad that they discontinued this one. So that's Guerlain's Tonka Imperial. So the next edition is an interesting one. This was such a pleasant surprise. This is Lonestar Memories from the House of Andy Tower. And this turned out to be something very, very different from what I expected. So this was a blind buy. Why I blind bought this, considering what I thought it was going to be, is a little strange. So I thought this was going to be an uber masculine, super smoky fragrance, almost an unwearable or possibly unwearable fragrance for me. Maybe I thought it was going to be uber masculine, but nonetheless, I purchased it because I read some reviews from women who said that this is totally unisex, and I could not agree more. So I don't have a lot of experience with this yet, so I don't want it to turn into a mini review of the fragrance. I have to get to know this, but from the limited experience that I do have, I sprayed it at night on skin 2 nights. So I have some experience. So it opens up leathery and smoky, and the most masculine that it is for me personally, to my nose, is in the opening. Super smoky, leathery, and the leather is like the leather of cowboy boots maybe, or the leather of a saddle of a horse. And then it turns into something completely different. And I kept sniffing my arm thinking, is there iris in here? I was getting powdery facets, floral facets, some aromatic facets as well. I'm not sure what spices might be in here. I haven't even analyzed the notes, to be honest. And there's definitely that Tower DNA that runs through some of the fragrances. It's here for sure. And then there are these amber qualities and some sweetness that I think is warm that comes along with the amber aspect of this. And there's that smokiness that runs through this powdery fragrance that turns into something much more delicate than how it opens. So yes, I get the smokiness throughout, but it's not as smoky and uber masculine as I thought it was going to be. It's really nice. It wears really nice on my skin. And it's very unique. I find this to be a very unique leather, smoky leather fragrance. and I think I'm going to love this one. So I can't wait to wear more of it. It may not be something that I'll wear a lot of in the warmer weather that's finally here in New York, but I look forward to getting to know this one a little better. So Lonestar Memories from Andy Tower. So the next one, another one that was on my wish list after going through an entire decant, Thomas DeMonico's Sol Salgado. I can't wait to wear this. Full bottle. I just got this a couple of weeks ago. This is a great summer fragrance. It's thick, it's syrupy. I think it's all about ylang ylang. There's this, I think, salt accord. There's something salty in here, and it's a little tropical, beachy. That's what it brings to mind. I think there's a linden blossom note in here as well, but I think the ylang ylang is the star of the show. The bottles are so interesting. This cap is so huge. Every time I take it off, it's like a struggle. This one is a great one. There's something musky about the way that it wears, which I think keeps it from going into a super uber syrupy direction. It's thick. It is a little thick, but there's something musky. And I think I love the ylang ylang in here. I like ylang ylang in fragrances. So this is the perfect purchase as we get into the warmer weather here, into the summer. So I look forward to putting a dent in this. Full bottle. So Sol Salgado from the house of Thomas DeMonico, which I like this house. I have raw gold, and there's a new fragrance that has notes that include, I think, coffee. It sounded really interesting. I'm not sure if it would work for me. It might be a little too sweet from the reviews that I read. I'm not remembering what it's called. I'm blanking right now on the name of it, but I would like to get my nose on their new fragrance. I think it's a newer one. So Sol Salgado from the house of Thomas DeMonico. So the next one I was also a little bit on the fence about. This one was a slow burn for me. I had a decant. I kept going back to it. I kept testing it, and then decided I want a full bottle. So this is Histoires de Parfums 1740, which I think is a pretty popular fragrance. I also think that people consider this masculine leaning. I don't know that I agree with that. I think that it's totally unisex, and I purchased it. So I'll tell you why I was on the fence about this, but it has nothing to do with being masculine. So this fragrance I would describe as a leathery, patchouli, aromatic fragrance that has a very strange opening to my nose, and it's what was putting me off. So it opens with something that seems like stale booze, a little boozy, but not your typical boozy note in fragrances. And there is no boozy note in this fragrance. It's not a boozy fragrance, but to my nose, or the association that I was having with this in the opening, is that it smells like almost like dried up alcohol on the floor of a dorm room at a college campus. And I did not drink in college. The first time that I mistakenly drank a little too much, and it was probably 1.5 drinks, was when I was in law school. So I was not a drinker, but somehow I must have gotten my nose on the dried up alcohol on the linoleum floors of a dorm room, or whatever the material floor was made of, and I kept associating the opening of this fragrance with that sort of like musty, dried up alcohol. Probably doesn't make sense to anyone, but the reason that I kept going back to it is because that does sort of subside, and you do get this interesting leathery fragrance with green components and this patchouli, but it's not a patchouli that is like the typical chocolatey, earthy patchouli. I think it's a little bit more of a green patchouli, and I like the amber aspects of this. I love it in the dry down, as it dries down. I think the magic is in the dry down, and then it's on my skin for hours, and I really do enjoy it coming off the skin. So every time I tested the fragrance out, I would spray it and think, ooh, no way. And then I would get wafts as it dried down, and I would think, I really like this, and I really wanted to own a bottle, so here we have it, Histoires de Parfums, 1740. It made its way into my collection. So we'll see if it's here to stay. I will wear it, and I'll see if I enjoy it as much as I enjoyed it when I was testing this one out. So last but not least, another one that was on the wish list for, I think, at least 6 months. I purchased it at just the right time of year. I actually planned it every month that I was purchasing a fragrance. There are only so many that I can purchase in a month. And each month I would think of the Les Indemodables fragrances that I wanted to add to my collection. I really like so many of them. I love this house. I don't know if it's still considered an underrated perfume house. I think it's fantastic. There's a common thread, a common DNA, and I really do like a lot of the fragrances. This one is Les Indemodables Orange Sirocco, and I've had it on my wish list. It's an orange blossom fragrance, and I added 2 fragrances before this one because I thought that I would just wait for the warmer weather, being that it's an orange blossom, and I would wear it in the warmer season and in the summer. So it's a beautiful orange blossom. It has these hints of cinnamon. It's simple, but yet it wears so beautifully on the skin. I wore this only twice so far, so no dent, and I look forward to wearing it a lot more. It's a great fragrance. It's thick, it's a little bit syrupy. You get the orange blossom. It's not too sweet. You get the floral aspects of the orange blossom, and then you have this cinnamon that contrasts, and it almost makes the fragrance seem like there's something musky, but in reality, I think, unless there's a note in here that I'm not aware of, I didn't look up the notes, but I think the cinnamon almost gives something of a musky take, and then you realize that it's actually the cinnamon contrasting with the orange blossom that comes off almost musky in the fragrance. So this is a great one. What a beautiful take on orange blossom. And I can't wait to wear this in the warmer weather and the upcoming summer season. So Les Indemodables Orange Sirocco. That's how we're going to end the video. This was on my wish list, and I'm so happy to have it. So those are 8 new additions to my fragrance collection. Let me know in the comments if you guys are familiar with any of these, if you share my same enthusiasm and love for these fragrances and reluctance with some of them. And as usual, thank you so much for watching, your comments, and your support. Until next time, bye guys.